Your mind is the most valuable asset on your path to wealth. Wealth is a habit built daily through deliberate mental effort. Train your thoughts to build wealth and watch your life transform. What if everything holding you back from real wealth is not about money, but the way you think? What if your mind is the key to unlocking financial success that never runs out? Imagine waking up every day with a clear focus on building your future and making choices that lead to lasting wealth. How different would your life be if you trained your brain to reject distractions and temptations that keep you stuck? What if you could develop habits that sharpen your money mindset and push you to act like the successful person you want to become? This isn't about luck or quick fixes. It's about taking control of your thoughts and decisions, so wealth becomes not just possible but inevitable. You have the power to change your financial path starting now. This journey demands focus, discipline, and a mindset built for growth. Now let's dive in. Number 1. Destroy every belief that says money is evil. Most people don't even realize how deep this belief runs. They grow up hearing things like money makes you greedy, or rich people are cold, or having too much is selfish. These words come from parents, friends, teachers, sometimes even from people we love. And without knowing it, we carry these beliefs into our adult life. We start to think that if we want to be good, we have to stay small. If we want to stay kind, we can't have too much. And that idea is not only false, it is dangerous. That belief stops people from becoming who they are meant to be, because you cannot build wealth if you are ashamed of it. You cannot grow if deep inside you think you're doing something wrong. You might work hard, but something will always hold you back. You might earn more, but you'll find ways to lose it, because the mind always wins. If your mind believes wealth is evil, it will protect you from it, no matter how hard you try. You need to go back and ask yourself who taught you that belief, and why did you believe it? Maybe they were struggling, and they needed a reason to feel better. Maybe they were afraid. Maybe they were told the same lie. But just because someone else said it, doesn't make it true. You can't keep carrying that weight. It's not yours. It never was. You've got to set it down and decide to think for yourself. Money is not evil. That is the truth. Money is neutral. It is not good or bad. It reflects the heart of the person who holds it. If you are kind, then money gives you more power to help others. If you are selfish, then money gives you more power to feed your ego. But the money itself is not to blame. It does nothing by itself. It only follows the hands and the mind that guide it. The reason most people stay broke is not because they are lazy. It is because they are afraid. They are afraid of what people will think, afraid of being judged, afraid of losing their values. So they hold back. They never ask for more. They never study wealth. They never take the risks, and they tell themselves they are being good. But in truth, they are just playing small, and deep inside, it eats them alive. You were not put here to live a limited life. You were not born to struggle for every dollar. You have a mind, you have a will, you have power. But none of that will work for you until you get rid of this belief. And I mean destroy it completely. Not hide it, not ignore it. Destroy it. Replace it with something that actually helps you grow, something that gives you strength. Start telling yourself a new truth. Money is good in the hands of good people. Wealth allows me to give more, not less. The more I grow, the more I help others grow. Every time you hear that old voice telling you that money is wrong, you speak louder, you tell it no. I do not accept that. That is not true for me anymore. You also need to look at the evidence. Study the people who have used money for good. Look at the ones who build schools and support communities and help people change their lives. These are not greedy people. These are people who decided not to believe the lie. They trained their minds. They grew their skills, they stepped up, and they didn't apologize for it. And you shouldn't either. You don't owe the world your struggle. You owe it your example. Show people what happens when someone refuses to stay stuck in fear. Show them how far you can go when you believe you're worthy of success. That is leadership. That is power. That is what changes lives. Now, this is not about pretending that money solves everything. It doesn't. But poverty doesn't either. There is no honor in staying broke when you have the power to change it. There is no virtue in playing small when the world needs strong people to rise. So stop trying to protect others from your success. If they don't understand, that's their battle, not yours. Some people will try to pull you back. They will say you've changed. They will say you care too much about money. But what they are really saying is you made a choice they were too afraid to make. And that's okay. Your job is not to please them. Your job is to grow into the person you were born to be. Destroy the guilt. Destroy the shame. Destroy the fear. Every time you earn more, you prove the lie wrong. Every time you save, instead of spend to impress, you break the cycle. Every time you learn something new about building wealth, you take your power back. You have to remind yourself every day that there is nothing wrong with wanting more. It's not greed. It's not pride. It's responsibility. It's ownership. It's stepping into your life instead of sitting on the sidelines. Wanting more is not a crime. Staying small on purpose is. Stop repeating what broke people say. Stop holding on to beliefs that were designed to keep you stuck. You don't have to be like everyone else. You don't have to prove anything to people who are still living in fear. You just have to decide. Decide that your life is your own. Decide that you're done playing small. Decide that you are going to rise and not apologize for it. The truth is, you cannot build what you hate. You cannot attract what you feel guilty about. And you will never grow into wealth if you think it makes you a bad person. You must train your mind to see money as a tool that multiplies what you already are. If you are strong, it makes you stronger. If you are giving, it makes you more generous. But only if you believe it is okay to have it. This is not a small shift. This is the foundation of everything. If you get this part wrong, nothing else will work. But if you get this right, everything changes. Your actions, your focus, your energy, your decisions. Everything lines up once your belief is in the right place. So take a deep breath and start today. Challenge every lie you were told. Let go of the fear that kept you playing small. You were not born to suffer. You were not made to hide. You were made to grow. And the sooner you believe that, the faster your life will change. That is the truth. That is where it all begins. Number 2, build daily habits that sharpen your money mindset. If you want to get serious about wealth, you need to stop waiting for motivation and start creating structure. Every single day, your actions are either building the mind of a wealthy person or they are pulling you back to average. It's not about luck. It's not about a big break. It's about what you train your mind to expect and what you do to support that expectation. The first step is to understand that your mindset is not fixed. It's shaped. And the way you shape it is through what you do every day. Your mind listens to your behavior. When you waste time, your mind thinks time doesn't matter. When you ignore your finances, your mind learns to avoid responsibility. When you make impulsive decisions, your mind gets used to reacting instead of planning. But when you start each day with intention, your brain learns to respect time, energy, and resources. And that is what builds mental strength. Wake up and take control. Don't start the day with noise or distraction. No scrolling, no background drama, no opinions from strangers. Start with clarity. Remind yourself what you're building. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Focus your brain on the goal. When you train your brain to focus, you stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop reacting to life, and you start directing it. You need structure around how you think about money. That means creating habits that make wealth feel normal, not rare, not lucky, not distant but familiar. Make it part of your language, part of your reading, part of your focus. If your mind only hears about struggle, it starts to expect struggle. But if your mind hears about growth, progress, and possibility every day, it starts to believe that's your path. Start your mornings by reviewing your goals. Not just long-term goals, but today's goals. What can you do today that brings you one step closer? Make it practical. Make it clear. That daily focus sharpens your thinking. You stop wasting time on things that don't move you forward. You start making decisions based on what builds, not what distracts. Make it a habit to track your money. Every dollar matters. Wealthy people know where their money is going. They check their accounts. They review their spending. They look at the numbers. Not once a month. Not when something goes wrong. Every day. Because that attention builds awareness, and awareness builds discipline, and discipline builds freedom. Feed your mind with things that stretch you. Read books that challenge how you think. Watch people who are living at a level you're aiming for, not to copy them but to learn. Study their routines, their language, their discipline. What you expose yourself to changes what your mind believes is possible. The more you normalize success in your thinking, the less you fear it. Make reflection part of your day. At the end of each night, take 5 minutes and ask yourself what you did well, what you could do better, and what you learned. This habit keeps you honest. It keeps you from drifting. It forces you to face your patterns. And facing your patterns is how you break the ones that keep you stuck. Create routines around growth. That could mean blocking time to work on a skill. That could mean setting reminders to review your budget. That could mean saying no to things that take your energy away from your goals. Every time you choose growth, your mind becomes stronger. It learns to favor discipline over comfort. That's not easy, but it's necessary. Stop waiting for motivation to show up. Make commitment your habit. Motivation is a feeling. Commitment is a decision. You can't build anything real on feelings, but you can build everything on consistent decisions. Decide what matters and do it, whether you feel like it or not. The more you follow through, the more your mind trusts you. That trust becomes confidence. Surround yourself with structure that keeps you focused. That could mean keeping your environment clean. That could mean organizing your workspace. That could mean deleting things that pull you into nonsense. When your environment is chaotic, your thinking gets cloudy. But when you create order, your mind feels calm and in control. And control is what you need to move with purpose. Practice gratitude, but don't confuse it with settling. Be thankful for what you have and still reach for more. Gratitude is not about staying still. It's about respecting what you've built while pushing yourself to grow. Make it a habit to notice your progress. Don't wait for big wins. Celebrate the small ones. Every good decision, every smart choice, every step forward. Notice it. Speak with intention. Watch your words. What you say shapes what you believe. If you keep saying you're broke or stuck or tired, your mind accepts it as truth. But if you speak about discipline, growth, and improvement, your brain adjusts its expectations. Words become habits too. Speak the kind of language that matches the life you're trying to build. Take care of your body. Wealth requires energy. Mental focus is tied to physical health. Move your body. Eat like your goals matter. Rest with purpose. When your body is weak, your decisions get lazy. But when your body is strong, your mind sharpens. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. A little progress every day keeps your system running well. Respect your time like it's your money. Track how you spend it. Eliminate what wastes it. Protect it from people who don't value it. Time is your most limited resource. If you spend it on things that don't build you, you're choosing delay. Make it a habit to ask yourself before every commitment, does this move me closer to my goals? If not, say no. Stay honest with yourself. Self-awareness is a habit. Check in daily. Where are you slacking? Where are you avoiding? What are you pretending not to notice? Facing the truth is hard, but it builds strength. The more you face it, the less power it has over you. Weak minds hide. Strong minds confront. That confrontation becomes your edge. Don't try to build 20 habits at once. Start with 1 or 2. Master those, then add more. Consistency is better than intensity. You don't need to do everything today. You need to do something every day. That's how the mind gets sharp. That's how wealth becomes natural. Not by bursts of effort, but by steady practice. Build habits that train your brain to expect results. Show up when it's boring. Follow through when it's hard. Keep going when it's slow. These actions signal to your mind that you are serious, that this is not a phase, that you're not waiting on luck. You're building something real. Your daily habits shape the way you think, and the way you think shapes everything. If you want to attract wealth, build a mind that can handle it. A mind that sees clearly, that decides wisely, that focuses deeply. That kind of mind doesn't show up on its own. You build it by what you do every single day. Number 3, surround yourself with people who expect success. The people you spend time with are either raising your standard or lowering it. There's no middle ground. If you are serious about wealth, you cannot afford to keep company with people who are comfortable being stuck. Every conversation you have is shaping your beliefs and your direction. Every voice you allow close is either adding pressure to rise or permission to stay where you are. If the people around you don't believe in growth, you will begin to question your own path. Most people underestimate how deeply influenced they are by their environment. They think they can stay strong while constantly hearing excuses. They believe they can aim high while staying around people who talk small. But over time, that mindset wears down. Doubt becomes normal. Settling becomes safe. You begin to adjust your vision so you don't stand out too much. And when you do that, you lose your edge. You don't need people who tolerate success. You need people who expect it. People who wake up every day thinking about how to grow. People who ask hard questions. People who challenge your limits not because they doubt you but because they know you're capable of more. That kind of company lifts you up without saying a word. Their habits, their energy, their decisions speak louder than any advice. It's not about status or popularity. It's about standards. When you are around people who think growth is normal, success becomes your baseline. They talk about goals, not gossip. They plan, not complain. They push themselves not because someone told them to, but because they've decided to live at a higher level. Being around that makes you sharper. It keeps your thinking clean. It forces you to grow faster than you would on your own. If you are always the most disciplined person in your circle is too small. You need to be around people who intimidate you in the best way. People who make you rethink how you show up. Not because they are trying to outshine you, but because their consistency exposes your gaps. That's a gift. When you see what's possible up close, your excuses start to lose their power. Be careful with people who make you feel guilty for growing. If someone gets uncomfortable when you start to aim higher, they are not your support system. They are your anchor. You can care about people without letting them control your pace. Your future should not be negotiated by someone else's fear. If your progress makes them insecure, that's their work, not yours. Start paying attention to what people around you expect from life. Do they expect things to get better or worse? Do they look for solutions or excuses? Are they proud of effort or stuck in complaining? You become what you're around. Not instantly, but always. If they don't expect more, they'll never push you to do the same. You need to build a circle that sees your growth as a win. People who get excited when you rise. People who support your goals even when they don't fully understand them. You don't need a crowd. You just need a few strong people who hold you accountable to your best. That kind of support is rare, but once you find it, you protect it. Distance yourself from constant negativity. That doesn't mean you're better than anyone. It means you're choosing your direction with intention. You can't keep allowing constant fear and doubt into your space and expect to stay focused. Protect your mind like it matters, because it does. What you hear daily becomes what you believe, and what you believe becomes what you pursue. Look for people who ask better questions. People who don't just ask how your day was, but ask what you're building. People who push you to think bigger, not because they want more from you, but because they want more for you. Those conversations light something inside you. They remind you that you're capable of more than surviving. You're here to lead, to grow, to build something strong. Make it a priority to connect with those who are already doing what you want to do. Not just online, but in real life. Study their habits. Watch how they carry themselves. Learn how they make decisions. You don't need to copy them. You need to absorb the mindset. That mindset is what creates the results you're chasing. The more you expose yourself to it, the more natural it becomes. Be open to correction from people who want you to win. Not everyone who challenges you is against you. Sometimes the most growth happens after a tough conversation. When someone you respect tells you you're slipping. That's not criticism. That's love. If someone holds you accountable, don't push them away. Pay attention. They're showing you the gap between where you are and where you said you want to be. Be willing to let go of relationships that drain your energy. This is not about being cold, it's about being clear. If someone constantly pulls you into drama, distractions, or delay, they are not neutral. They are subtracting from your life. You cannot build a strong future while holding on to people who are tied to your past. Release the guilt. You're not abandoning them. You're choosing to grow. Surround yourself with people who are hungry. People who are building, not waiting. People who invest time in reading, learning, and applying. People who don't settle when things get hard. That kind of company keeps your fire alive. When you see others pushing through their struggles, you stop making excuses for yours. You realize everyone has reasons to quit, but the strong keep moving. Be intentional about your circle. Curate it like your future depends on it, because it does. Don't just accept whoever shows up. Choose who stays. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. Some people won't get your vision because they're not supposed to. They weren't built for it. Don't lower your goals to match their comfort. Find those who challenge you to aim higher. Create space for conversations that make you uncomfortable in a good way. Talk about money. Talk about habits. Talk about discipline. Talk about vision. If all your conversations are safe and shallow, you're not growing. You're stalling. Growth comes from tension. From being around people who force you to be honest about your effort, your focus, and your progress. If you want to attract wealth, surround yourself with people who already expect it. People who don't flinch at hard work. People who make discipline look normal. That energy changes everything. You start thinking differently. You start moving with more urgency. You stop looking for comfort and start chasing growth. Your circle is your mirror. It shows you who you are becoming. If you don't like what you see, change the reflection. Choose people who challenge your limits, who hold you to a higher standard, and who make it clear that success is not optional. It's expected. That kind of environment will change your life faster than any book or strategy. It sharpens your thinking, strengthens your belief, and fuels your drive to keep moving forward. Number 4. Focus only on thoughts that create financial growth. Every result in your life begins with a thought. Your decisions, your habits, your direction. They are all shaped by what you allow to live in your mind. If you want financial growth, you have to become intentional about which thoughts you feed and which ones you shut down. Most people don't realize how much time they spend thinking in ways that block their own progress. They focus on what they lack, what they fear, what might go wrong. They replay mistakes. They doubt their ability to change. And without knowing it, they build a mental wall between themselves and wealth. You can't build a wealthy life with a mind full of worry. You can't create new income while thinking like someone who's stuck. It doesn't work that way. Your thoughts either lead you forward or hold you in place. If you're not constantly checking your mental habits, they'll start pulling you in the wrong direction without asking for permission. You need to lead your mind, or it will lead you. Financial growth doesn't begin with money. It begins with mindset. It starts when you stop thinking small. When you stop telling yourself it's too late. When you stop looking at people who have more and assuming they're lucky. If someone else figured it out, you can too. But not while your thoughts are filled with hesitation and self-pity. Those thoughts are heavy. They slow you down. You need thoughts that move. Pay attention to what your mind does when no one's watching. When you sit with silence, where does your focus go? Does it go to your goals or your problems? Does it stay on possibilities or drift toward fear? You can't expect to build a wealthy future when most of your mental energy is spent trying to survive the present. You have to direct your attention to what builds, not what breaks. Start filtering your thoughts like your income depends on it. If a thought doesn't add clarity, direction, or courage, drop it. If a thought makes you shrink instead of grow, reject it. If a thought makes you settle instead of strive, throw it out. You are not your thoughts. You are the one deciding which thoughts to accept and which to challenge. Take control. One powerful way to rewire your mind is through repetition, but not just any repetition. Repeat thoughts that raise your standard. Remind yourself daily that wealth is possible. Remind yourself that you're capable of discipline. Remind yourself that your past does not get to dictate your earning potential. Say it until it becomes real. Your brain listens to what you feed it often. People waste years arguing for their limits. They explain why things won't work. They tell stories about how they've always struggled. They bring up reasons why now isn't the right time. That kind of thinking becomes a trap. You might think you're being realistic, but really you're just choosing safety over progress. If your mind is constantly proving why you can't grow, it will block every opportunity you get. Start focusing on how you think about money. Not in vague terms, but in your daily patterns. Do you feel guilt when you think about wealth? Do you feel like you don't deserve more? Do you talk yourself out of taking chances because it might not work? Those thoughts don't belong to someone who wants financial growth. You have to upgrade them. You need thoughts that look for solutions, not obstacles. You need thoughts that ask how instead of why not. You need thoughts that keep you focused when things get slow, because they will. There will be times when growth is quiet, when it feels like nothing's changing. That's when weak thoughts try to take over. That's when you have to double down on the thoughts that keep you grounded. You won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel ready. That's why thought discipline matters. When your emotions try to lead you into doubt, your trained thoughts will keep you steady. When your energy is low, your beliefs will carry you forward. This isn't about being positive for the sake of it. It's about being focused for the sake of your future. If you want to think like someone who grows financially, then study how they think. They don't waste time thinking about what they can't control. They don't dwell on opinions that don't matter. They focus on skill building. They focus on strategy. They ask better questions. How can I increase my value? What can I learn today that I didn't know yesterday? Who can I learn from who's already ahead? That kind of thinking moves you forward even when the outside results haven't arrived yet. Be ruthless about guarding your mental space. If something weakens your focus, cut it out. If someone speaks doubt over your goals, reduce their access. If a habit steals your clarity, change it. You cannot afford to keep entertaining thoughts that cost you progress. Every time you think with intention, you make yourself stronger. You build mental muscle. And just like your body, your mind gets sharper with practice. Thoughts create patterns. Patterns become habits. Habits shape results. If you start your day with focused thought, you build a day that serves your goals. If you end your night with reflection, you prepare your mind to reset. Wealth doesn't show up by accident. It's built by people who spend more time thinking about action than fear. More time thinking about growth than excuses. Train your mind to look for leverage, not comfort. Ask yourself what needs to change, instead of why things are hard. Every problem is a message. It's either telling you to level up your thinking or change your direction. But if your mind is too cluttered with noise, you won't hear the message. You'll stay stuck in mental loops that go nowhere. Make it your goal to sharpen your thinking every day. Read things that stretch you. Write down thoughts that move you. Listen to ideas that challenge you to think higher. Don't just consume anything. Be selective. Be strategic. What you put into your mind will eventually show up in your decisions. And your decisions build your future. Choose clarity over comfort. Most people stay confused because it feels safe. But clarity demands responsibility. When you start thinking clearly, you stop blaming. You start asking better questions. You start seeing where you've been lazy, where you've held back, where you've accepted less. That honesty hurts at first, but it heals in the long run. Don't wait for the perfect time to start thinking like a builder. Start where you are. Even if your life feels messy, even if you're still figuring it out, start directing your mind toward growth. Choose thoughts that demand better from you. Choose thoughts that move you into discipline. Choose thoughts that don't allow you to stay the same. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control what you think about it. You can decide what story you tell yourself. You can decide how long you sit in self-pity. You can decide what you focus on next. That's power. That's how you take back your direction and build something strong from the inside out. The way you think about your future shapes how you treat the present. If you believe growth is coming, you'll act like it matters. You'll spend time better. You'll plan sharper. You'll invest more energy into what actually builds. If you believe nothing will change, you'll act like today is disposable. That belief becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. Break it by choosing better thoughts now. Number 5. Train your brain to see wealth as your duty. You are responsible for how you live your life, and that responsibility includes your finances. Wealth is not something to wish for. It is something to prepare for. You don't wait for it, you work toward it. And to work toward it, you must first believe that it is your duty to build it. Not a dream, not a luxury, not a fantasy, a duty. This means it's not optional. It's essential. You owe it to yourself to become strong financially, because without that strength, your options are limited, your freedom is limited, and your impact is limited. A lot of people were raised thinking that money is only for the lucky, the greedy, or the selfish. That kind of thinking makes people play small. They feel guilty for wanting more. They hesitate when opportunities show up. They pull back when it's time to grow. That mindset has to be broken. Wealth is not greed. Wealth is preparation. When you have more, you can give more. You can help your family without worry. You can fund the dreams of others. You can buy back your time. You can protect yourself in a crisis. But none of that is possible if you keep treating money like it's a problem. You were not born to struggle through every financial decision. You were not born to fear bills, to stress over the end of the month, to explain away why your life hasn't moved forward. You were born with the ability to think, to decide, and to build. That means you are capable of becoming wealthy, and once you realize that, you must stop treating it like a choice. You must begin to see it as a responsibility. You are not helping anyone by staying broke. You are not inspiring anyone by staying behind. You are not leading by example when you choose to stay stuck. You can train your brain to accept this new truth. It begins with what you tell yourself daily. You must speak like someone who takes wealth seriously. Not casually, not someday, but now. That means waking up and choosing discipline. That means cutting out time-wasting habits. That means studying how wealth is built, not just wishing for it. Your thoughts must change before your income can. And if you're serious about your future, you won't wait another day to make that shift. This is not about impressing others. This is not about living flashy or showing off. This is about taking ownership. You can't lead a strong life without strong financial foundations. That means learning how to manage what you earn, how to multiply what you keep, and how to make your money work for you. These skills are not for special people. They are for those who decide that they are done with excuses. Those who stop blaming their background, their parents, their city, their economy. You don't control where you started, but you control how far you go. That's your duty. Too many people are waiting for someone to rescue them. A new job, a raise, a lucky break. But what if no one comes? What if you are the only person who can change your financial future? That's not a scary thought. That's a powerful one. Because if it's on you, then that means it's in your hands. You can take a step today that your future self will thank you for. You can choose to learn something today that will pay off for years. You can decide to walk away from what drains your energy and walk toward what builds your future. When you treat wealth as your duty, you stop entertaining weak thinking. You stop spending money like you don't care about your future. You stop wasting hours on distractions. You start valuing time. You start planning your moves. You start saying no to short-term comfort. People around you may not understand. They may call you obsessed. They may say you've changed. And you have. Because you no longer think like someone waiting for things to change. You think like someone who makes things happen. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to get it all right the first time. But you do have to show up for your future like it matters. That means tracking what you spend. That means building new income streams. That means reading what most people won't read. And doing what most people won't do. Because most people are broke. Not because they can't earn more, but because they've never been taught that wealth is their duty. They think it's a wish. And wishes don't build legacies. Your children, your community, your own self-respect. They all benefit when you take wealth seriously. Imagine not needing to ask for permission to live the way you want. Imagine having the means to help someone when they truly need it. Imagine walking through life with confidence because you're not worried about how to survive. That's the kind of life you owe yourself. That's the kind of future that requires you to shift your identity from someone who hopes for wealth to someone who commits to it. Commitment changes everything. When you commit to wealth, you treat your time differently. You stop chasing approval. You become intentional. You look for ways to grow. You push yourself to think bigger. You study people who have done it. You ask better questions. You stop saying I can't and start asking, how can I? And you don't just ask once, you ask daily. You train your brain to stay focused on the outcome, not the obstacle. You have to remind yourself often that staying broke is not noble, it is not honorable, it is not a badge of integrity. Struggling to make ends meet while pretending it's fine will only drain your energy and rob your future. There is no glory in staying stuck, but there is power in change. And you can only change what you face honestly. That means admitting where you've been lazy. That means being real about the habits that have held you back. That means replacing weak patterns with strong ones. Because you can't move forward with one foot still planted in excuses. Everything changes when you start thinking like a person who takes responsibility for their income. You see opportunity in places where you used to see problems. You stop blaming and start building. You stop settling and start stretching. You become the kind of person others look to for answers, not someone who's always looking for a way out. That's not just better for you. That lifts everyone around you. Your future is watching. It's waiting. It will respond to the effort you put in now. If you train your brain to see wealth as a duty, maybe not a fantasy, but a duty, you will move differently. You'll push harder. You'll tolerate less nonsense. You'll say yes to growth even when it's uncomfortable. Because you know what's at stake. You know what kind of life is on the other side. And you're not leaving it to chance. You're building it one decision at a time. Number 6. Eliminate all thoughts that keep you feeling broke. Your mind is the starting point of every change you want to make in your life. And if you want to live with wealth, you can't keep thinking like someone who's struggling. You've got to stop feeding your mind with thoughts that chain you to where you are. These thoughts are not harmless. They are not just passing ideas. They build the way you see the world and the way you see yourself. If you think like a person who always comes up short, you will make decisions that keep you there. That's how powerful your thinking is. Some people walk around every day thinking they'll never have enough. They tell themselves things like, I'm just not good with money, or I wasn't born rich, or wealth is for other people, not people like me. And they repeat that to themselves so often that it becomes a rule in their mind. They start to believe that their future is limited by their past. They settle for less because they've convinced themselves that more is not meant for them. That kind of thinking will never lead you forward. It will trap you in the same routine, the same excuses, the same fears. You've got to take control of your thoughts the same way you would take control of your spending if you were going broke. You wouldn't keep throwing money out the window if you were low on cash. You wouldn't burn your last dollar. But every time you hold on to a thought that keeps you feeling like you're not enough or like your situation can't change, you're burning mental currency. You're using your energy against yourself. And if you do that long enough, your confidence shrinks, your vision shrinks, your actions shrink, and your results follow. Eliminating broke thoughts is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about facing reality with the mindset of someone who believes they can do something about it. When you catch yourself saying, I can't afford that, stop and ask, what would I need to do to afford it? When you hear yourself thinking, people like me don't become wealthy, stop and challenge that. Who told you that? Who benefits from you believing that? Because it's not you. You are not helping your life by agreeing with small thoughts. You don't need to be rich right now to stop thinking broke. You need to start paying attention to what you allow in your mind. Thoughts like, I'll always struggle. I'm unlucky. Things never go right for me are not facts. They are patterns, and patterns can be broken. But only if you see them clearly and reject them. You've got to decide that you will no longer repeat lies that hold you down. You will no longer speak defeat into your future. You will no longer act like your hands are tied. This kind of mental discipline is hard at first, because those thoughts have been there for years. Maybe you heard them growing up. Maybe you picked them up from the people around you. Maybe you created them as a way to cope with disappointment. But just because they've been with you doesn't mean they have to stay. You can draw the line. You can say, that's how I used to think, but not anymore. You can start choosing thoughts that match where you want to go, not where you've been. One of the most damaging broke thoughts is believing that things will never change. That mindset keeps people passive. It makes them wait. It makes them complain. It makes them jealous of others instead of building something for themselves. You must remind yourself daily that change is not only possible, it's up to you. And you don't need to wait until tomorrow to start. You can begin by changing one thought today. You can choose to believe that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you have something to offer, that you can learn, that you can grow, that you can rise above. People often think that being broke is just about money. It's not. It's about the way you see yourself in the world. If you see yourself as a victim, you'll act like one. If you see yourself as powerless, you'll live like that. But if you start seeing yourself as a builder, as a doer, as a learner, everything begins to shift. You stop settling. You stop waiting for permission. You stop comparing. And you start owning your path. You don't have to know everything right now. You just need to stop blocking yourself with weak beliefs. If someone offers you an opportunity, don't respond with fear. Respond with curiosity. Ask yourself how you can step up to meet it. If you face a challenge, don't default to "I can't." Ask yourself what the next step would be if you believed it was possible. That's how you rewire your mind. Not by waiting, but by practicing new thoughts. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not too behind. That's another set of broke thoughts people carry. They look at the clock and tell themselves they missed their chance. But the truth is, every moment you have is a chance. And if you're alive and aware enough to be reading this, then you're not out of time. You're in the middle of your story, and you can still write a better chapter. But you have to stop telling yourself that your past defines your future. Take a hard look at your inner talk. What do you say to yourself when no one is around? What kind of words run through your mind when you think about your bank account, your job, your goals? Are those thoughts helping you build, or are they keeping you down? If they're not lifting you, then they are limiting you. And you've got to get rid of them. Replace them with better thoughts. Repeat those new thoughts until they become natural. That's how you build a new mindset. That's how you start moving differently. Remember, you're not doing this for other people. You're doing this for the life you know you deserve. You're doing this because you're tired of feeling like things never move forward. You're doing this because you want to wake up with purpose, not stress. You're doing this because you believe there's more inside you than what the world has seen. And the first step to that is cutting out every single thought that says otherwise. You may not see the results overnight, but if you keep eliminating thoughts that make you feel small and weak, and replace them with thoughts that empower you and drive you, you will change. Not maybe, not someday, you will. The person who changes how they think changes how they live. That's the truth. And that truth will work for you, if you're willing to work with it. Keep your mind strong and your life will follow. Number 7, practice seeing opportunities where others see limits. There is a reason why some people rise while others stay stuck, even when they start in the same place. The ones who rise have trained their minds to see something different. Where most people see a problem, they see a possibility. Where others give up, they begin. Where others get overwhelmed, they ask better questions. This kind of thinking doesn't come by accident. It takes conscious effort to look at life through the lens of growth instead of lack. It takes strength to hold on to a mindset that is wired to see the next step, even when things feel unclear. When you build the habit of seeing opportunity, you give yourself a real edge in life. You stop waiting for things to be perfect before you act. You stop needing a guarantee before you make a move. You look at your current job, and instead of saying, "I'm stuck here," you ask, "What can I learn from this that helps me level up?" You take a setback, and instead of saying, "I failed," you ask, "What's the truth in this that can build me?" Every moment becomes a tool to build a stronger you. Most people don't realize they've trained themselves to look at the world through fear. They look for what's missing. They notice what's broken. They assume that if something hasn't worked before, it never will. That mindset creates a ceiling. You can't break through. Not because the limit is real, but because the belief is. The brain loves patterns. And if you've been feeding it the pattern of limits and doubts and walls, then that's all it's going to show you. You've got to break the pattern. Start asking better questions. Instead of "Why can't I do this?" ask, "What's one step I can take right now?" Instead of "What if it doesn't work?" ask, "What if it does and I grow from it?" Instead of "I've never done this before." Say, "Every skill is learned and I can learn too." That small shift rewires the brain to focus on direction, not danger. It stops obsessing over failure and starts paying attention to what could work. That's the kind of mind that sees open doors where others see walls. Your environment plays a role here. If you're surrounded by people who constantly talk about what's wrong, who complain, who doubt, who expect the worst, you'll begin to think that's normal. It isn't. That kind of thinking is poison to growth. You have to be deliberate about what voices you let into your life. Spend time listening to people who believe in growth, who take action, who face difficulty but keep pushing. Their words will sharpen your focus. Their mindset will challenge you to step up. Opportunity doesn't always show up in a nice package. Sometimes it shows up in the form of hard work. Sometimes it looks like discomfort. Sometimes it feels like confusion. But if you have the right mindset, you'll recognize it. You'll realize that the job you hate might be training you for the business you'll build. You'll see that the failure you went through is teaching you resilience that money can't buy. You'll start to notice gaps in the market instead of just copying what everyone else is doing. That's how wealth thinkers operate. They don't wait for the right time. They create it by the way they think. You don't have to have all the answers today, but you do need to train your eyes to search for what can grow. You need to build the habit of seeing potential instead of just problems. That means slowing down and thinking. Most people react to life. They don't stop and think about what they're seeing. They hear a no and they quit. They lose once and they back off. But you can decide to be different. You can hear that no and say, that means I need to adjust. You can take that loss and say, this is part of the journey, not the end of it. When something goes wrong, don't panic. Look deeper. Ask, what is this showing me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That small shift takes you out of being a victim and puts you back in control. That's what opportunity thinkers do. They take control of their focus. They guide their thoughts instead of letting circumstances dictate how they think. They stay curious. They stay open. They stay in motion, even when things are uncertain. The mind that is trained to see opportunity is calm under pressure. It doesn't flinch when challenges show up. It knows that every obstacle carries information. Every delay holds a lesson. Every problem holds a clue. But you only get to see it if you stay present and focused. If you react with fear or quit too fast, you miss the lesson. You miss the opening. You miss the next level. The people who move forward are the ones who look longer, who think deeper, who choose to respond with power, not panic. There are people who've done more with less than what you have now, not because they were lucky, not because they had special connections, but because they looked at what they had and asked, how can I use this right now? They didn't say it's not enough. They said it's a start. That's how opportunity thinkers build. They stack small wins. They stay engaged. They act with intention. They move with clarity. Train your brain by doing this every day. Take 5 minutes and think of one challenge you're facing. Write down 3 ways it could turn into a win. Even if it feels like a stretch, force yourself to come up with something. This is not about fantasy. It's about discipline. The more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. Soon your brain will start scanning for wins on its own. And that's when momentum kicks in. Understand this. Wealth is not just about what you earn. It's about how you think. If your mind sees roadblocks, you will live behind them. If your mind sees pathways, you'll find ways through. Your job is to sharpen your mental lens every single day. Choose what you look at. Choose what you believe. Choose how you respond. Because the person who sees opportunity in the storm is the one who walks out stronger. The world doesn't need more people who just repeat what they've been told. It needs people who can think, who can build, who can look at a mess and say, there's something here. If I dig. If you want to rise, you have to think like a builder, not a blamer. You have to stop saying I can't and start asking what if. You have to stop following fear and start following purpose. That's how opportunity is seen. That's how it's seized. That's how it's multiplied. Train your mind to do that, and there's no limit to what you can build. Number 8. Discipline your mind to reject fear of failure. Fear of failure is one of the strongest chains that holds people back from building real wealth. It doesn't come from outside. It's built inside the mind over time, fed by doubt, past mistakes, and other people's voices. The truth is, failure itself isn't the problem. The problem is how we think about it. The problem is what we allow it to mean about us. If your mind turns every setback into a reason to stop, you'll never move far. If your thoughts start spinning the moment things go wrong, you'll get stuck in your head and never take the next step. That's why you've got to train your mind like you train a muscle. You can't let it run wild with fear and hesitation. You've got to bring it under control. You've got to be the one who says, "This is what we believe now," not the one who listens to the noise of fear and treats it like truth. The undisciplined mind reacts. The trained mind decides, and in the world of building anything worthwhile, that difference matters. Most people never even start because they wait to feel ready. They wait for the fear to go away. They think courage is something that shows up when everything feels safe. That's not how it works. Courage is built by doing the thing while you're scared. It's built by showing your mind that fear doesn't run the show anymore. Every time you take action in the face of fear, you train your brain to stop making failure look like a threat. You have to remember that fear is loud, but it's not always right. Just because a thought shows up saying you're going to mess this up, doesn't make it true. Just because you feel nervous, doesn't mean you're not ready. The mind has a job to protect you, and sometimes it sees risk where there's only growth. That's why discipline is so important. You have to be able to interrupt the spiral. You have to be able to stop the fear before it gains speed. When fear of failure becomes normal in your thinking, you play life small. You settle for jobs that don't stretch you. You avoid conversations that could change everything. You stay inside your routine even though something in you wants more. You don't apply, you don't launch, you don't risk. And what you get is comfort. But comfort without progress turns into frustration. You start blaming life when really it was the fear you never challenged. To discipline the mind, start noticing your thoughts. Watch how often fear creeps in when you think about taking a new step. Don't just feel the fear. Analyze it. Ask, where is this coming from? Most of the time it comes from something small. Maybe a time you embarrassed yourself. Maybe a mistake you made when you were younger. Maybe someone close to you failed, and you saw how hard it was. Whatever the reason, your brain decided to make fear a wall, and it kept building it higher every time you backed down. You've got to tear that wall down by changing what failure means to you. If failure becomes a teacher instead of a punishment, the fear loses its grip. If you tell yourself, even if this goes wrong, I'll come out better, the mind starts adjusting. You're not trying to feel fearless. You're building mental habits that don't depend on fear being gone. You're moving anyway. You're deciding anyway. You're choosing to show up no matter what thoughts try to pull you away. One of the most powerful things you can do is reflect on every past failure with new eyes. Look at the lessons. Look at the strength you gained. Look at what you didn't know back then. Now ask yourself, did it destroy me? No, you're still here. That means you've already survived more than you give yourself credit for. Use that as evidence. Your brain needs proof that you can keep going. Give it that proof by remembering your strength instead of your stumbles. Disciplining the mind takes practice. It's not one decision, it's 1,000 small ones. Every time a negative thought shows up, challenge it. Every time you feel like quitting, breathe and refocus. Every time fear tells you to hide, say out loud, I'm not that person anymore. Say it with conviction. Say it even when your hands shake. Say it until your brain starts believing it. You can't train your mind if you keep letting fear do the talking. Watch how you speak to yourself. Fear grows when your self-talk is weak. If your inner voice sounds like, I'm not good enough, what if I fail again, or I always mess up? You've got to rewrite that script. Your mind listens to your voice more than any other. Feed it words that build. Speak sentences that push. Say, I'm still learning. This is a new chance. I've got what it takes. Not to hype yourself up, but to give your mind a new language. The old one didn't serve you. Don't avoid situations that stretch you. Don't run from the things that make you nervous. Walk straight into them. Sign up for the thing that scares you. Say yes to the project that feels bigger than you. Ask for feedback when your ego wants to hide. All of that is how discipline is formed. Not just by thinking positive thoughts, but by putting yourself in places where growth is required. That's how you prove to yourself that failure isn't the end, it's a part of rising. You also have to stop comparing yourself to others who seem to have it all figured out. They struggled too. They doubted. They made wrong moves. They faced setbacks you'll never see. But they kept going. Not because they were fearless, but because they didn't let fear run their decisions. You can do the same. The people who win are not always the smartest or the most talented. They're often the ones who had the discipline to keep moving when it got tough. Decide today that fear will not control your future. Decide that your goals matter more than your comfort. Decide that the price of playing small is too high. Look at where fear has stopped you before. Make a new choice. Train your focus on the life you want. Refuse to let imagined pain stop you from real progress. Remind yourself every day that action cures fear faster than waiting ever will. The more you move, the quieter the fear becomes. This isn't about becoming invincible, it's about becoming mentally strong. It's about building the kind of mindset that can keep going even when things don't go right. You build that by showing up, again and again, by doing hard things, by letting failure refine you but never define you. That's how leaders are built. That's how wealthy minds are shaped. That's how purpose is found. Not in ease but in the fight to move past fear and build anyway. Number 9. Push yourself to act rich before you feel ready. There is a powerful truth that many successful people live by. Sometimes you have to step into the mindset of success before it actually feels real. Waiting to feel ready can keep you stuck longer than any obstacle. You might tell yourself that until your bank account hits a certain number, or until your job title changes, you won't start thinking or acting like someone who attracts wealth. That is exactly where most people lose momentum. They wait for permission from their circumstances to think bigger. They wait for a sign from outside instead of starting from the inside. Acting rich doesn't mean pretending to have money you don't have. It means adopting the mindset, the habits, and the behaviors of someone who believes they deserve financial abundance. It means treating your goals and your future as real now, not someday. You push yourself because you understand that the way you think affects the way you act. If you wait for feelings to come first, you might wait forever. But if you act in spite of your feelings, you train your mind to see possibilities and create new realities. Look at the people who are financially successful. Many of them didn't feel ready when they started. They took risks before they had guarantees. They made decisions with limited resources but unlimited belief in what could come next. Acting rich is about showing up confidently in your own life. It's about making choices that reflect your goals instead of your doubts. It's about managing your money, your time, and your energy as if you already belong to the group of people who create wealth. This mindset shift is not easy. It requires pushing through discomfort. It means stepping outside your comfort zone and making decisions that might feel unfamiliar or even scary. For example, managing your money with discipline rather than panic. Investing in yourself through learning and growth, or speaking with confidence about your ambitions. Each of these small actions helps your brain build new habits. It rewires your thinking from scarcity to abundance. Acting rich also means taking responsibility for your life. It means not blaming your background, your job, or your bank balance for where you are today. Instead, you take ownership of your thoughts and actions. You decide what kind of future you want, and then you live like that person starting now. This doesn't mean ignoring your reality. It means refusing to be limited by it. You treat your current situation as a stepping stone, not a prison. When you push yourself to act rich before you feel ready, you start attracting opportunities that wouldn't come if you stayed stuck in doubt. People notice confidence. Doors open when you present yourself as someone who expects success. You might be surprised how often the world responds to your energy rather than your current resources. You don't wait for the perfect time or the perfect conditions. You create your own momentum by stepping into the role. This doesn't mean reckless spending or pretending to be something you're not. It means making strategic decisions that build your wealth mindset every day. It's about valuing your time as precious, setting high standards for your work, and learning to negotiate and communicate with belief in your worth. Acting rich is an investment in your self-respect. It's choosing to honor your goals with your behavior. You develop this habit by starting small. Pay attention to how you talk about money. Stop using language that puts limits on your potential. Replace thoughts like, I can't afford that with how can I afford that? Start managing your expenses wisely and save consistently, even if it's just a little bit. Invest in your education and skills, because that's a way of acting rich, betting on yourself. Dress in a way that makes you feel professional and capable. Show up on time and prepared. These actions build confidence in your ability to handle more. Remember, wealth begins in your mind before it appears in your bank account. When you act rich, you're training your brain to expect abundance, you're creating a vision for your future, and reinforcing it through daily behavior. This approach challenges the belief that you have to wait for external proof before feeling successful. It flips that idea on its head. You act rich, and then the world starts to match that energy. At times you might feel like an imposter. That's normal. Everyone feels that way at some point. The key is not to let those feelings stop you. Keep moving, keep acting as if you already belong in the life you want. Over time, those feelings lose their power. Your new habits become natural. Your mindset shifts. You stop waiting and start creating. The moment you push yourself to act rich is the moment you take control of your financial destiny. You no longer leave your future to chance or to your feelings. You build a foundation of confidence, discipline, and expectation that guides your choices. That foundation is what supports lasting wealth. This is about more than money. It's about respect for yourself and your potential. It's about deciding that your dreams deserve your best effort now, not later. You don't wait to feel ready, because the truth is, you may never feel completely ready. The world doesn't pause for your confidence to catch up. Your success depends on your willingness to step forward, even when you doubt. Each step you take acting rich is proof to yourself that you are capable of more. It rewires your brain to think bigger. It builds momentum that propels you forward. It creates a new story about who you are and what you deserve. And that story becomes the reality you live in. Push yourself every day to act rich before the feelings come. Talk about your goals with confidence. Handle your money like it matters. Learn how wealthy people think and copy those habits. Step into new roles and responsibilities even when you feel unsure. Make decisions based on where you want to go, not where you are now. When you do this, your mind starts to see wealth not as a far-off dream, but as something real and within your reach. Acting rich rewires your beliefs. It changes your actions. It creates a path from where you are now to where you want to be. The power is in your hands to take that step right now and keep moving forward no matter what. Wealth comes to those who show up ready to receive it by acting as if it already belongs to them. That readiness starts with your mind and your choices today. Push yourself to act rich before you feel ready, and watch how your world begins to change. Number 10. Force your focus on long-term financial decisions. Building wealth is not about quick wins or easy shortcuts. It requires a mindset that looks beyond immediate satisfaction and chooses actions that build lasting value over time. The challenge is that our brains are wired to seek instant gratification. We want the reward now, the quick payoff, the easy fix. That natural impulse can sabotage financial success if it's not controlled. Training your mind to force focus on long-term financial decisions means overcoming the pull of short-term temptations and staying committed to goals that pay off years down the road. This discipline is what separates those who accumulate wealth steadily from those who struggle. Making smart financial decisions often means saying no to purchases or habits that feel good today but harm your future. It means resisting the urge to chase trends, to borrow beyond your means, or to spend impulsively. Instead, it means planting seeds that take time to grow, saving consistently, investing wisely, and educating yourself about money management. The power to force your focus comes from clarity about your bigger vision. You have to remind yourself daily why you're making sacrifices now. It's about keeping your eye on the prize even when the immediate reward seems tempting. This focus becomes a muscle you develop with practice. The more you choose long-term benefit over short-term pleasure, the stronger it grows. Soon your decisions naturally align with wealth building because your brain is rewired to value the future more. One of the hardest parts is pushing through discomfort and doubt. Waiting for results can feel frustrating. You might wonder if your efforts are worth it. Patience is not passive. It is active faith in your own discipline and planning. You refuse to be distracted by the noise of instant wants or the opinions of others. You know that lasting wealth takes time and consistent good choices. Start by making a clear financial plan that outlines your long-term goals. Define what financial freedom looks like for you in 5, 10, or 20 years. Break down those goals into smaller steps that you can work on daily. This roadmap guides your actions and helps you stay focused when temptation arises. Tracking progress regularly reminds you that the slow but steady path is winning. It's essential to manage your spending with a mindset focused on the long term. That might mean budgeting strictly now so you can save for investments that compound over years. It might mean choosing quality over quantity so you don't have to replace things repeatedly. It means thinking about how every dollar you spend today affects your future freedom. You start asking questions before buying like, does this move me closer to my goals or farther away? Investing is a major way to force your focus on long-term thinking. It requires you to put money away and let it grow without touching it. This goes against the grain of our society that encourages quick results. But the truth is, wealth compounds slowly. The magic happens when you give time and consistency to your investments. The longer you wait, the greater the rewards become. This requires mental discipline to not panic during market ups and downs or to give in to the temptation of spending what you've saved. Another part of forcing your focus is surrounding yourself with information and people who support long-term wealth building. This means choosing financial education over get-rich-quick schemes. It means seeking mentors or peers who value patience and strategy. Avoid conversations or media that promote instant success stories without effort. Feeding your mind with consistent, sensible financial wisdom builds resilience and reinforces your mindset. You also need to prepare mentally for setbacks and delays. Long-term financial decisions don't guarantee a smooth ride. Life will throw challenges your way. Emergencies may test your savings, markets may decline, opportunities may slow down. The difference is your commitment to the long game keeps you steady. You don't abandon your plan because of temporary setbacks. Instead, you adjust, learn, and continue moving forward. Building this mindset requires self-awareness about your triggers for impulsive spending or short-term thinking. Pay attention to moments when emotions like fear, envy, or boredom push you toward poor financial choices. Develop strategies to handle those emotions without breaking your long-term focus. This might include delaying purchases by a set time, talking to a trusted friend before making big decisions, or reminding yourself of your bigger purpose. You force your focus by making the future so important that the distractions of today seem small in comparison. You develop the habit of thinking about the impact of every financial choice on your years ahead. This doesn't mean never enjoying money or rewards. It means balancing enjoyment with responsibility. Celebrating small wins along the way is part of the process, but it never overrides your commitment to long-term success. The mindset of forcing your focus also teaches discipline beyond money. It spills over into your work ethic, your learning habits, and your relationships. You start valuing consistent effort and growth over shortcuts or excuses. You become more strategic with your time, energy, and attention. This broader discipline creates a foundation that supports wealth in every area of life. When distractions come, and they always will, remind yourself why you chose the path of long-term financial thinking. Recall the freedom and peace that financial stability brings. Visualize how your future self will thank you for making disciplined choices today. This mental rehearsal strengthens your resolve and keeps you grounded. Your brain will resist change at first because habits are comfortable, but the more you practice choosing long-term benefit, the easier it becomes. Your automatic responses shift. What once felt difficult becomes natural. You begin to see the value in waiting, planning, and investing in yourself and your future. Each long-term financial decision you make builds momentum. Like building blocks, they stack to create a structure of stability and growth. This structure supports you during tough times and opens doors to opportunities that quick fixes never could. Forcing your focus on the future is an act of respect for your potential and your dreams. It takes courage to refuse the easy path of instant gratification. It takes determination to choose patience and planning every day, but those qualities create wealth that lasts. They build confidence that you can handle whatever comes your way. They develop a mindset that sees beyond the present moment to the life you are creating. The journey to financial freedom is a marathon, not a sprint. Every step focused on long-term decisions moves you closer to a life where money serves you and not the other way around. This approach protects you from mistakes driven by emotion or pressure. It empowers you to make choices that reflect your values and goals. To master forcing your focus, practice reflection regularly. Review your financial habits, your progress, and your challenges. Learn from mistakes without judgment and adjust your course. This ongoing self-evaluation sharpens your awareness and keeps your vision clear. Remember, wealth does not appear overnight. It is created by consistent decisions that honor the future over fleeting impulses. It is built by people who train their minds to see beyond the immediate and act with purpose. Forcing your focus on long-term financial decisions puts you in control of your destiny. It creates a mindset that attracts and sustains abundance. This mindset makes you unstoppable,